shooters, loaders, and casters, happy Friday. Hope y'all had a good week. Intro by Chessboard, set to music by me. I wish I could play like that. I just found some royal-free music, threw it on there. Welcome to the panel. Welcome to the side chat. Let's get started. How was your week, CW? Looks like you stole Walter's hat.
Nope. Good week. Wet. I got web feet every day. Last Friday it started. We had a reprieve on Wednesday, and it started right up Wednesday night. So loads and loads of rain. But I guess part of the country is doing the same thing, so I'm not alone. But everything is popping here, lush green like you can't believe. It's like it's tropical. The only thing it's not is warm. It didn't even make 60 today. It was supposed to be 60 for a high, and I don't think it got 58 or 59. So got to the range one day, did get a couple videos done, had a really good time, picked up a new chronograph, and I love it. Having a good time. So more to come. Doing some reloading. Got a lot of things planned. It's going to be some good times. That young fellow there beside me there, I don't know who he is, but what's going on there, feller?
Hey, you have to be 18 to enter the chat.
Oh, man, good to be here on a Friday night with all you fine folks. Oh, man, what a great side chat already out there. Man, pretty good week. We've been having a lot of rain, so not got a lot of range time in because of the rain and thunderstorms, but looks like we got some clearing coming up. So anyway, very excited about that. So anyway, looking forward tonight. Always going to be a blast, especially when we're going to be talking about the Marlin. I mean, how you doing, Gene? You all right, buddy? How'd your week go?
Oh, my past couple weeks have been eventful. Got a tooth. I still got an appointment to get out. That's been keeping me down a little bit. I've lost 3 pounds though, so here's a good thing.
I've always a silver lining.
Hey, I can't look a gift horse in the mouth. Let's see. Went and shot the Ohio State Buckeye Blast last weekend, and what CW saying about the weather, we got it. We had to shut the match down for lightning strikes and tornado warnings in the surrounding area. So naturally, we're all huddled under those metal pop-up tents with umbrellas.
Lightning rod house with lightning rod trim.
It was fun. They end up calling it the Marengo. We had stages that were completely flooded under. If you dropped a magazine, you were on the hunt in the muddy water. Other than that, as bad as it was, I still had a blast doing it. Had a good time. RO in the match. A lot of great understanding competitors. So it's just always a good time to have good camaraderie out there. But it's good to be back on. Thanks for having me back again, Jamie. I appreciate the link. I'll just keep my fingers crossed there. Being gone for a couple of weeks, But other than that, hi. How about you, Six?
Oh, doing pretty good. It was a pretty good week for an old working guy, I guess. About the only thing exciting happened was, I think it was Monday, maybe Monday or Tuesday, we had a good hailstorm here. We were pounded pretty good. Other than that, I ain't done much of anything else. I've been busy. Me and the wife got some stuff we've been doing, so got that taken care of. So that's about it for me, though. But you, Rebel? Look like Rebel's froze up.
Yeah, internet's weird.
Can't hear you, man. Oh, you're behind. Try it again. How you doing, Rebel?
I said,
Ain't working, Rebel.
You locked up.
Yeah,
Hey,
locked
I'm
up.
doing okay. AC was on the fritz, and I took an hour and fixed it. And am I still off?
No, you're
Well,
coming in now.
I'm still off.
No.
You cutting in and out.
I'm coming in and out. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, I replaced the contactor real quick. An electrical contactor. A bug had gotten in there and fried it. So one little bug stopped AC, and I haven't had supper yet. So when it gets here, I'll have to jump off. But I'll be back after I finish guzzling it down.
Good deal. Good deal. Walter, what about you? How was your week?
My week was actually pretty good. I won't disgust you with how the weather was out here in Camelot, but it wasn't bad. We'll put it that way. I got to the range a couple times, not necessarily because I wanted to, but with the 45 Schofield project, I've been having a little bit of difficulty hitting the target velocity that I wanted to get, and I'll be talking about that in the next edition of that, which I think I'm finally there. I'm close enough anyway. So we'll talk about what was going on. Probably about midweek next week, I'll have the next edition of that going on. And never been one to do much in the way of reviews, but I got several things coming in to do reviews on. One is that Joel Hodgson got a hold of me and said, "Hey, you want to do some reviews, or would you just?" Actually, he said, "Would you just like to have some new RCBS equipment?" So I talked to him a while about it and kind of talked to a couple other buddies about it and said, "Nah, I don't know whether I ought to or not." But anyway, seems like it's a thing that RCBS is doing lately. They're trying to get their gear out more in the limelight. So after he said, "Hey, we'll send you about $1,000 worth of gas." You got about that far, and I said, "Send it." And so I'm going to do that. And another outfit that I've worked with a little bit that makes 3D printed stuff. And I did a review of one of their products that is a brass catcher that goes on the Hornady lathe trimmer. Well, they liked that, and they sent me another one. They just finished making one for the RCBS and Lyman trimmers, so they're going to send me another one of those. So I'll have a review on that. And then Lee just came out with a new product, and that review just went up a little while ago. So anyway, but I'm almost out of molds for Moldy Monday.
Oh no!
So I gotta get another revenue source. Buy some new molds or something.
What?
So I got a couple left in there that I haven't cast yet, but that's about it. That Moldy Monday series actually was a good idea for me, but anyway. So that's what's going on here. Life's good. How about you, Mr. Kyle? What's happening, buddy?
I'm just living the dream, man. I'm actually enjoying going to work, getting off at a decent time, being able to spend time with my dogs in the daylight. Pretty awesome. We've had some storms here. It hadn't been terrible. Every now and then you'll see some like remnants of a flash flood, and I live on the side of a mountain, so that's kind of bad. But it's supposed to be okay through the weekend. They're calling for some storms like Saturday night, but whatever. What's a Mother's Day without a hailstorm?
Yeah.
My wife is dog sitting for a friend of hers about 60 miles away. So I've only seen her like 3 times in the last week, but it's good to get to see somebody, that you're used to seeing every day, but you don't see them for a minute. Other than that, I got nothing. I mean, I'm just working and coming home, taking care of dogs, and still trying to get my reloading room back together. That's it.
Well, welcome all you guys in. Welcome all you guys over in the side chat. Looks like a lively conversation going on over there. I saw Mr. Pollard's over there. Mac Man's off on vacation on a cruise. There's Red Raider, and we'll go through the side chat at the bottom of the hour if y'all want to. I want to say something real quick, and then we'll get on to our topic. I got CW got a new chronograph, and somebody sent me a lab radar, and I did a video on that, and I'm tickled to death with it. And I know these smaller ones seem to be the rage of the age, but I'm tickled to death with the lab radar. And I just Scotsman and I were able to play with that a little bit, and I've got some notes and stuff that I'm gonna put in a video if I ever get time. Stuff's going crazy around here, y'all. Y'all would not believe my life lately. But Red Raider got the Garmin, but I was able to get it, and my buddy, my friend. Can you believe he treats me like that?
I don't get no respect at all.
What I've done to that guy, but man, I love you, Daniel. There ain't nothing you can do about it, buddy. Another thing I want to say is I got home today and there was a box in my mailbox. I've got too many dang windows open here. I'm afraid. Let me do this.
Oh, I see that. Hello.
I haven't edited this, man. It didn't turn out like I wanted it. But let's do this anyway. Check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
So
That's sweet.
this is my CZ75. It's got new grips on it, and it is not for sale. YouTube, you cannot have it. Period. And Ozzy made me this holster, and so I wanted to show the holster and the firearm, but I'm hoping that this other picture turned out a little better. But I should have cropped these. Yeah, this one's going to do better. Yeah, I like that. See how y'all like this. Hold your eyes, it's going to hurt. It ain't that bad.
Nice.
Looks
I
good.
like that holster. That's nice.
Like
Very
He-
nice.
He earlier in the comments over there, he said, "Does it fit? Can I uncross my fingers and toes?" I'm like, "Dude, it fits perfect. It's even got." And the guys on the panel saw. I turned it upside down, and it stayed in the holster and all that stuff, man. And it looks great with those new grips and that new holster. And man, I'm so blessed by all you guys. Y'all are way too good to me, and I'm not worthy of you.
Ozzy does a great job on those.
Yeah, he does.
Snakes try to avoid him, though.
Yeah, the word's out. The word done gone out.
That's good to know there, Curtis, because I need to know those downrange splits.
It's nice. It's nice to to be able to tell you the velocity of your bullet at certain ranges. It's a nice, it's got a lot of good features in it, that lab.
Asian cobra snakeskin inlay. Goodness gracious. I'm glad I didn't have to retrieve that snakeskin.
That almost sounds like something you'd have to pay money to go watch someplace.
Whoa.
Wow.
Let's
To Tijuana we go.
Can you get those at the nail salon?
Okay. Let's see. Last week we did the. What did we talk about? What rifle was it? Was it the Kennedy Burgess?
Yes.
Yes.
1880, right? So next along our progression is we're going to have to back up to move forward. So let's do this. We're going to talk about John Marlin, a little bit about John Malin Marlin.
Woohoo!
Is one of the most famous names in the history of American firearms inventing and manufacturing. His name is synonymous with Marlin Firearms, a gun manufacturer that is still relevant nearly 200 years after he was born. Marlin was born in Boston Neck, Connecticut in 1836, and he died in July of 1901. He will forever be remembered for his his ingenuity and countless contributions to firearm designs and innovations. I need to read more carefully because there's a lot of difference between ingenuity and integrity.
A little.
John Marlin served as an apprentice in his early years at a tool and die making shop. During the period of the Civil War, he's born in 1836 now, and the Civil War was what, 1860, 1861?
Yep.
So I imagine as an older teenager, he was an apprentice in this tool and die making shop. But during the Civil War, he was employed at the Colt plant in Hartford, Connecticut. And by the time 1870 came around, he was ready to open his own store on State Street in New Haven. So this would be the beginning of his full-time career manufacturing his own innovative designs of revolvers and derringers. Part of his genius was his ability to attract top-tier talent, including engineers, designers, and innovators who helped develop industry breakthroughs that led to such innovations as the Marlin Model 1891 and the Marlin Model 1893. Many of the same models and designs that were incorporated into early Marlin firearms all the way back then are still in manufacture today. So Marlin Firearms initially only produced single shot weapons, with the company focusing its efforts on the manufacture of lever action repeating rifles in 1881. And from that point, the company expanded out into the designs and manufacture of many different models. The impact of John Marlin and Marlin Firearms is most certainly felt throughout the world of gun design and manufacture to this day. His legacy is not one that will soon be forgotten by many appreciators of firearms history. Let's get you a picture up here. And this is the model 1881. And you can see we've got the finger loop like the Winchester. We've got the loading gate developed by King. We've got the exposed hammer, but this is a genuine 1881 that apparently has absolutely no bluing left on it. And
Wow.
Saddle gun.
so pretty much.
It said those are like 10 pounds.
Yeah, they weren't light.
Yeah, with those, we're going to get into
Octagon barrels.
Let's talk about that for a little bit. So obviously the 1881 is not in production anymore, and it was one of the most famous Marlins ever produced. It was their 1881 lever action repeater. Despite competing against the iconic 1873, which I would respectfully disagree with. The model 1881 established Marlin as a reputable lever gun manufacturer and cemented the company's place in history. The weapon, like other repeaters of the period, featured a tubular magazine that fed into a top-ejecting receiver. Unlike other lever guns, however, the hardy Marlin was capable of handling big-bore cartridges like the beefy 4570 Government, which made it the new buffalo gun of the late 19th century. The range of calibers made the Marlin 1881 popular among so many Americans of the period, with approximately 16,000 of the lever guns finding their way in the hands of ranchers, farmers, and other frontier folk across the Great Plain. My contention is that the 1881 Marlin did not compete with the 1873 Winchester because the 73 Winchester was a revolver caliber rifle. The 1881 is like a rifle.
76.
Yeah.
It's
according to Google, is the most successful popular big bore rifle of its time.
Yeah, it outsold, or at least I don't think it overtook the 1876 Winchester.
It was probably really popular until 86 came out.
Yeah, the 86 is Winchester's next one that we'll cover.
Yeah, that's their big one.
And as we go through time, Marlin's company just took off. I mean, they're still in there today. So we know that the 73 Winchester's often called the gun that won the West, and this rifle certainly didn't win it by itself. There are plenty of other good firearms available, and one that gave Winchester its most serious competition was the 1881 Marlin. This big rifle was years ahead of Winchester's first big bore offering, their 1886 model. Well, we know that's not exactly true either, because we covered the 1876 last week or the week before, and it was the first lever action repeater built that was strong enough to handle the 4570 Government cartridge. So then by 1875, Marlin had taken over the manufacture of the Ballard single shot rifle, another popular frontier long arm. With the introduction of the 1881 model that year, Marlin quickly became one of America's premier sporting repeating rifle producers. The 81's beefed up frame and improved levering mechanism allowed for the longer and more powerful 4570 round. It was also offered until the introduction of Winchester's 1886 model. The 81 Marlin was the only repeater to be had in some of the big bore calibers of that time. The only repeater, and it had no competition for several years. Besides the 4570, this man-sized rifle was also offered in a variety of other popular chamberings, including 3240, 3855, 4060, and the 4585. Between 1881 and 1892, a total of 21,716 Marlin rifles were produced. Most were made with octagon barrels and 28-inch lengths. Few round-barreled guns left the factory, and 13 were fashioned as smoothbore shotguns. The standard finish on these fine arms was a blued receiver, barrel, and underbarrel tubular magazine, and a color case hardened hammer, lever, trigger, and butt plate. As a rule, the 1881 Marlins were made with single triggers, but double set triggers were offered, as were other extras such as nickel plating, case hardened receivers, pistol grip stocks, and engraving. So they go on to talk about how the 81 Marlin was one of the fewer repeaters that was used in the to slaughter the northern buffalo herd. They were using a lot of sharps and stuff like that, but and then of course we know that John Malin Marlin died in July of 1901, and his sons took over, but they didn't keep the company long, and somebody else came over. I don't remember who all. This is an interesting fact. Later in the war, later in time, in World War I, Marlin became one of the largest machine gun producers in the world for the U.S. and its allies, building the M1895 Colt Browning machine gun, and a later variant called the Marlin gun, optimized for aircraft use. So when it was Rockwell that came in and took over after the Sons got ready to sell it. Marlin Rockwell bought out Hopkins and Allen Arms Company to promote and expand the line of firearms and restore the image of the Marlin Company as makers of quote-unquote sporting arms. I guess they kind of got the reputation of being a wartime firearms producer during World War I. They certainly did a lot of it.
I tell you what, even though you say that the finish is wore out on that gun, that is a sexy rifle.
It is, ain't it?
It is. That's beautiful. I just kept staring at it on my screen.
Yeah, me too.
If I had that rifle, I'd leave it like it is.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chapin got it right, though, if you read that comment.
Dave, I absolutely loved Blackfoot back in the 70s. Train.
It's a highway song.
It is. So, yeah. Don't change my name, though, Curtis.
We like you just the way you are.
Y'all didn't know Kyle was so musical. I mean, he's singing for you now. He knows the words to Blackfoot, and he played the piano for you earlier.
No, I played it for y'all, not them.
Surprise, surprise.
I know.
And there's only 15 guitars hanging up in my living room. So
Right.
I could play about 5 chords on all of them.
well, I'll throw a ukulele and a mandolin in there too.
What about a tater bug? You got one of them?
No, but I got a boinger.
Need to add a tater bug to that collection.
the thing you put in your mouth that go boing, 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 boing,
Yeah,
boing.
I know what that is.
Look at this. Train, Train, best Southern rock song by my dad. Was it Train, Train, Molly Hatchet? No.
Nope. Blackfoot.
Yeah, it was Blackfoot.
Uh,
And did you know that the lead guitarist for Blackfoot, whose name happens to be Ricky Medlock, was the original drummer for Leonard Skinner?
Before Artemis Powell?
Yep. They weren't jiving, and he went out on his own and started playing guitar, and then all of a sudden Blackfoot was born.
And they were, they had Native American ancestors where they got the name.
And my brother got to play in the same club they were playing in. Blackfoot was the headline. My brother's band was the warm-up band up here in North Carolina. He got to meet Ricky. Unfortunately, Shorty was passed away by that time.
Yeah. So let's call out the side chat. Mr. Walter, do you have an idea as to what we should type in?
Oh, Lord. 1881.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Type in 1881 and we'll call your name out on TV. Obviously, Viejo Walter is in the side chat and on the panel, and he was in first.
Damn, y'all were quick. Hell, I came up with it, and I was like, what, fifth?
Yeah.
Eighth? Jesus.
By the
Got
time
to click on that keyboard, baby.
Kyle, I thought you were reading Walter's post. He had already put it in the side chat.
Oh no! I just came up with it.
Yeah. Well, it's a subliminal thing. Me and Walter can think
Great minds think alike, I guess.
Yeah,
That must be it.
We'll go with that. So Walter was obviously first. Mr. Bob second. Texas 6 is also on the panel in the side chat. Tactical Fuds out there. Reloading from the Hot Pot and Kyle Lusk are both on the panel and in the side chat. So is CW Longshot. There's Dwayne 7834. Andy 79Z28. What's going on, bud? Rollis Carvelis, the gun genius, is out there. William C. Chapin, we're pleased to have your company this evening, sir. As with all of you, Mr. Bobby Barlow is out there. Vanessa Kitty, Hillbilly Up is on the panel as well. I know he's a Marlin fan, and we'll get him talking about some of them in a minute. Paul Loud's out there. Rollis again. Miss Kitty, 67 Rebel SST AMC. What's going on? GGW Outdoors, Go Dogs is out there. James Pollard, my dad's out there.
Sorry.
Timothy Burkett, Rich B is out there. And I think that's everybody. Oh, Brown Works. What's going on, man? Mark Brown from Brown Works Grips is out there in the side chat.
Hey, Mark.
Best grips ever.
Have I showed y'all my Brown Work grips? I can show them if you want me to, because I don't have them on my 1911 yet.
I cannot show mine because I got one set on my Beretta and another set on a double stack Rock Island TAC Ultra.
I can't decide which one I want to put them on. That's the reason I ain't already done a video and put them on there, and they keep me.
My Berettas are absolutely beautiful. I've got to do another follow-up video on them because they are comfortable. They look good. They just fit.
Yeah, Berettas make good hammers.
Says a man that used to use them.
Not only that, he makes some awesome pistol stands too.
Here we go. That says Brownworks. Look at these things, y'all.
What?
Y'all ready for this?
What happened?
Apparently not. 6 wasn't.
Come on, focus.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
Look at that.
So I got my logo on the outside where you can see it. And they got his logo on the inside
Sweet. Yep.
because he's proud of his work.
And those are 1911s, huh?
These are 1911
Oh, yeah.
grips.
Very good.
I might need to talk to somebody.
So yeah, I got to get these on a gun. I just ain't decided which one yet.
That'd be
What's
my
the wood,
problem.
Jamie?
Huh?
I said, what's the wood? You know?
It says these grips are made from various fine hardwoods due to the nature of the wood and the hand craftsmanship. No two
Okay.
grips are the same. For more information, visit us online at brownworks.com.
Yeah, and he'll even like if you go to his website, he does even some laminate. So you got like different shades of wood and stuff. They're amazing.
I wished I remembered what. I'm pretty sure these are walnut. But Mark Brown, if you remember what these are, if you could type it in the
African rosewood, he says.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they look a little light for walnut.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
He
Nice
sure
looking.
does. He sure does
Yep.
some beautiful stuff, though.
Those are nice. So we
Those would
recommend,
look really good on my Colt.
well, it's got my logo on it, so
Well, no, I'm saying that color wood would look really good on my Colt.
You know what that means, Jamie? We would just think about you every time we shot the gun.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I'm thinking if my logo's on the gun, it becomes mine, right? I mean, dang.
You ain't getting my Colt.
Stands to reason right there, yeah.
I think the sound
We'll,
fan.
we'll just be sure to keep them safe for you.
I've got several 1911s, but you ain't getting my Colt.
I'm thinking about getting one of those Thesis not something. They got better sights on them than the GI models.
Oh, the Night Stalker, I think it is. T-Sauce, I'm running a T-Sauce 10 millimeter in USPSA Limited 10, 1911, and that thing is smooth, man. It's got a nice tight fit to it. It's all CNC internal. No need to update anything.
Curtis has got a question. He's always stumping me with these questions, but is it book matched? No, I don't think so, man. I think that's just the grain. See how that one, the one on one side's got the dark vein going through it?
Right.
Man, it's hard to do this when, like this one right here, how it's got the darker. I like that. Yeah, those are beautiful. Really fine finish to it. And that checkering seems.
My 1860 Army cap and ball, it's out in Arizona, getting a custom grip made for it.
Yeah, Jamie, you need to get with Brownworks, and my birthday's coming up.
Okay.
Six, did you send that off to that Arizona gun grips outfit?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up getting a set of grips from them for one of my firearms. They do some nice work.
Yeah. They're modeling. They don't have a Army San Marcos cap and ball grips. They're modeling theirs off of mine.
So I think didn't Mark Thomas, Mark with a C, did he not tell us that Brownworks was starting to make uh, grips for Ruger Blackhawks? I think. Is that true, Mark, if you're still out there? Yeah, I think so. So, all right, we're going to go through the panel, and you can tell us which Marlin models that you have if you want to. CW, you won't go first?
In the levers, well, I've got 94s, I've got 36s, I've got 336s, I've got 375s, had 444s, I've got 1895s, 39s. Not all the modern ones. The only one I don't have in the modern ones is a 444, and I sold those off a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I've got a 36. That's probably my earliest. I had an original early 95 in 3840 that I sold to a guy, cowboy shooter. He wanted it. That was probably the oldest one that I had. Now the oldest is a 36, 3030.
So that's the predecessor to the 330s.
Right. It's a square bolt 336. It's a 36, yeah.
Yeah.
And the 95, the early 95s were also that same style square bolt.
Yeah.
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 The early 94s. I'm sorry, the early 94s.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. The 94s are the revolver caliber,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah,
the
they're shorter.
95s are the bigger.
Yeah.
Big boards.
Yeah, unless it's a 336, and the 336 is only coming 30, 30, and 35 Remington.
Yep.
Hillbilly?
Oh man, really like Marlins. Man, I got some 336s. Let's see, got of course Marlin 60s. And then I'm trying to remember what the bolt action Marlin was. I don't remember the model on that right now off the top of my head. But yeah, and then 22 Magnum. Yeah, I've just always enjoyed them. Not only could I get them at a decent price, used over the years, but they just work. I mean, you run them, and even like the 22 rimfires, if you start having some problems because you put several rounds to it and it's just dirty, just a little quick cleaning and they're back to running like new again. So yeah, I'm a big fan of Marlins. I've always liked them, and
Have you got your 35 yet?
not yet. That's something that's going to be something really, really awesome. I mean, that thing, really, really appreciate that one and take a lot of pride in it, no doubt.
Yes,
So,
I've seen that gun. It's nice.
hmm
But reloading from the hot pot's got one.
yeah.
Yes, I do. Thanks to JH586.
That's a nice gun too.
It is
hmm
beautiful. The wood is beautiful. Finish is beautiful. It's got the smoothest action. I love taking it out and shooting it. And that is in 35 Remington. I also have a Marlin Model 60 22 LR. That's just a tack driver. And all day long, that thing just shoots wonderful.
Absolutely. Is that all?
That's it. That's all I need for right now. For right now.
Absolutely.
Where's the hose?
Well, the wife, she's got that 94 and 357. And then I got a Model 20 bolt gun. And then 2 Model 60s.
Tell us about the 20. Is it a 22?
Yeah, the 22 long rifle.
Okay. I know they were making some bolt action hunting rifles later in life. I can't remember the models though.
That's all we got.
Rebel, what do you got over there, bud?
You may still be eating.
I was about to say, I think he's got a plate of dinner in front of him.
Probably doing better than us right at the moment, ain't he?
Oh, I just got a big swaller down, so hang on. I've got my first gun was a Marlin shotgun, a pump 12 gauge 150. They're still not worth that much. Don't know why. I've got 2 Marlin 39As, one pre-safety, one's after safety. That was my first rifle. I've got an 1894 and 44 Magnum. I've got an 1895 and 4570. My 3030 is a Winchester 94. And then I have numerous bolt guns and 22 mag and this and that are Marlin, all very nice guns. But yeah, I love them. I absolutely love them.
They shoot.
Yep. I sold my 444 to traded, and it was a good trade. And I already had the 4570, so 2 big bores. I'll pick up another 444 if it's right.
I would too. I wouldn't mind having one of those.
How long ago did you get rid of that 444 to tread?
A few years. He had a Dillon. He had a Dillon 550 that had a bunch of extras on it, and he had converted it to a B series, and we traded even. So still to this day, it's probably about the same money. I
wonder if that's the one that I shot out at dead zero.
Probably is.
That's a nice rifle.
Yep. When I gave it to him or traded it to him, it was missing the bullseye in the stock, and he ordered one and glued it in.
Yeah,
Somebody probably put a sling swivel through it, like they think that's where you're supposed to put the sling swivel. No.
Yep. I didn't even think about the bolt action rimfires. I did think of the 39. I was thinking all levers.
You said 39.
Yeah, I was thinking all levers though. I wasn't thinking rimfire bolts.
Yeah, that was big business. That was big business. I got a really super accurate 22 Magnum that's a Marlin.
Mine is unbelievable since I bedded it and pillar bedded it. I couldn't believe it. It was always okay. You know, it was 2 inches at 100 yards. It would do everything I needed it to do. My Ruger was way more accurate. It was an inch or better. And then I bedded and pillar bedded that 882, and I'm shooting like under half an inch with those red tip Horndies. I got it on a video. It's amazing how good that thing shoots. It has no business shooting that good, but boy, it does.
Mine's a 888. Is that right? Stainless steel, heavy barrel. And
880. There was maybe they have a bunch of numbers. The 8 were the newer ones.
I did that was the first trigger job I ever did myself, and I about went too far. It's light, and then I put a trigger shoe on it, and that even feels lighter. I did not bet it, but it shoots the Winchester. What was the Winchester and Marlin? I mean the Winchester Nosler combination bullet, and they carried that on in the rimfire line in the 22 Magnum, but it wasn't a Winchester Nosler combination. It was just called Supreme or something like that. It came in a black box, and I bought a whole
few Supremes. Yeah, the 34 grain is the one I love.
That's the one I have.
Oh
CW,
man,
they shot like crazy. They shoot like crazy.
Super cartridge. That 34 grain. They use the same bullet in the Hornet.
Yep.
That's a super load. Super load.
And when you shoot a groundhog with it,
they come apart.
You can actually hear it go whop. It's like hitting a pumpkin.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few different Supreme black box Winchesters through the years, but that 34 was available when it first came out in a plastic clamshell box like MTM makes, but I think it was 200 rounds, 4 boxes. That's how you got it when it first came out, and that was a super load if you could ever find it. Later it was a black box 50 round, but super 34 grain hollow point.
All right, who's next? Kyle?
Walter,
go.
You want to see my Marlin collection? You want to see him again? That's how many Marlins I got right there.
Them's rookie numbers. You got to work on them.
Holy Lord, I've got Walter beat in something.
Didn't take much. You got one. You got me beat.
That's what I have.
Kyle, what do you got?
I have one, a 336 and 35 Remington.
There you go. You got a good one too.
Yes, I do. As long as you remember the crossbar safety.
And there's probably 6 or 7 of those 336s, 335 Rem, different models.
336C, I think.
There's C's, CS's, Texans, A's. There's a whole bunch of them. A whole pile of them.
I don't know. It's the first rifle that I ever owned. My dad gave it to me for Christmas, I think when I was either 10 or 12. And it is a deer slayer. I've shot more deer with that gun than I have 30-06, 270s, 7 mags, 308s, 30-30s. But that's the only Marlin that I still have in my possession was my first rifle.
You kept a good one.
I did.
I know Walter's got a lot of Henrys, and
I got a stack of Henrys, but no Marlins.
Yeah, but the Henrys of today are pretty much the same design as the Marlin, particularly the 336.
The only thing I don't like about my Henry, of course, it's in 44 Magnum. It doesn't have a side gate. I would love that.
Yeah, when I acquired most of the Henrys that I have, they hadn't started putting side gates on them. I think the only one I have with a side gate's my 3855.
That's a nice gun. That was pre-54, I believe.
A Marlin. Oh, that's a fancy one.
Yeah.
Is that a female Marlin?
Uh-huh.
James Pugh's got one of those. But yeah, the friend of mine had a Henry and I 30-30, and I took it apart, and it's basically a Marlin 336.
Yeah, that's the way my 44 is designed. It's basically a 336 without the side gate. Dang it! But it was too pretty for me to pass up.
Yeah. That's one of the few Curtis don't have a name to. Dang, Papa's Place. That breaks my heart, man. That absolutely breaks my heart.
Mm.
So let's see. My Marlins, I have a Model 60. I have a Model 1894 and 44 mag special. Three 336s, 2 and 30, 31 and 35.
And that is a good shooting 35.
So, and
I forgot to say something, which my dad had sold it, but we had it for a long time, and it was bought new. The Marlin Goose Gun 12 gauge. I believe the barrel is like around 40 inches long.
They made some long ones.
He had to take it
48.
apart just to get the barrel in the cabinet without the stock on it. I'm serious. And we go pheasant hunting out there in Kansas, and he'd shoot it and carry it till he just wore him out because it was a heavy gun. And then he might trade it off to somebody, one of the other guys, and so whoever had that gun is kind of rule of thumb. They got the last shot. After everybody's shot, you can still reach out with that gun.
Well, I mean, you could shoot a quail in Colorado from Kansas, so.
I wish
Abigail's got a good question. Anybody want to tackle that one? Marlin actually started their business making handguns, and they didn't. We talked a little bit earlier about Marlin made single shot rifles and handguns up until they came out with the 1881. So for 10 or 11 years, that's what they made was handguns, particularly Derringers. They made a good many of those little Derringers way back in the, like, say, from 1870 and probably kept going for a while after that. But Tim S., yeah, go get it, man. We want to know what model it is. So
that is actually a very interesting stat there, Jamie. I didn't know that.
Oh, we read it earlier, and when I was going through the Marlin notes.
Well, that doesn't change the fact that I didn't know it.
Okay, good deal. I'm glad we learned something.
Their Derringers look just kind of like those 22s that CW has.
You got a picture on your phone?
Well, I did till you said it.
Daggone.
The way it works.
Let's see if I can get you up here.
I don't know if it's going to show up or not.
We can't see it. There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, you were almost there. There we go.
Try.
Yeah.
When you straighten it back up, tip the top of your phone down at an angle, and it'll show up better.
There it is.
There you go.
Pretty neat.
That's
That's cool.
crazy cool.
Looks like
man.
that Colt Derringer that swung sideways. Remember that one?
Yeah.
The barrel pivoted sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like.
And that what we call brass frames.
Yeah, that was a brass frame.
That's not actually brass. It's what they called gunmetal back then.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like they had one that looked like a skull fill
Yeah.
brake top.
So, Gene, you ready?
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
What's hot pot guy?
Just in honor of tonight, I pulled out the 444 Marlin cartridge. Isn't that nice looking shell there? Case. Upside down. Let me turn that the other way. This is from Hornady. And I think I showed this before, but just in honor of tonight's Marlin talk, I wanted to pull this back out and remind everybody of this forgotten cartridge. So this is the 444 Marlin. It is a rifle cartridge designed in 1964 by Marlin Firearms and Remington Arms. It was designed to fill a gap left when the older 4570 cartridge was not available in new lever action rifles. At the time, it was the largest lever action cartridge available. The 444 resembles a lengthened 44 Magnum and provides a significant increase in velocity. It is usually used in the Marlin 444 lever action rifle. Currently, Marlin, now owned by Ruger Firearms, does not offer the 444 chambering in any of their rifles. It remains to be seen if they'll bring back the chambering back into production. Sad, 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 because that is a nice looking cartridge, and these are super rare to come through the shop with all the brass that I see. I mean, only a handful of these have actually made an appearance.
That is a shame, man.
It is, man. That's such a beautiful cartridge. I wish I'd find more. I wish I'd find more of them, because then I would invest in a rifle to shoot them out of.
Well, straight wall cartridge, you can deer hunting with it in Iowa.
You can in Ohio too. I'm sorry, OH10. If you live here, you love it. OH10, baby. The bullet mass and type goes from a 240, 265, and 300 grain. The velocity is respectively 2350 to 2200 to 2000. In the mid-1960s, 4570 had all but disappeared from the American marketplace. There was no big bore cartridge available in a lever-action rifle in the current production, so Marlin decided to create a new cartridge to fill this empty niche. They created was essentially an elongated version of the 44 Magnum by making it nearly an inch longer to give it power similar to the 4570. The case Marlin created is very similar to a rimmed 303 British cartridge and necked up to work with 429 bullets. Some hunters initially claimed they had trouble because the 444 was frequently hand-loaded using existing 429 bullets that were designed for use at handgun velocity. Remington has stated in letter and email when asked that their 240 grain 444 bullet was not the same as the 44 Magnum handgun bullet. Despite the litany of false rumors about the 240 grain bullets, the rifle gained additional popularity as additional bullets were designed for its higher velocity. In 1972, Marlin reintroduced the 4570 to their lever action line, expanding their big bore offering. Sales of the 444 are now overshadowed by the 4570, which has enjoyed a resurgence in popularity due to interest in cowboy action shooting. That is a nice long case. That holds a lot of magic fairy dust. And with that big bang button on the back of it, that would be so much fun to shoot. That is one cartridge I wish they would bring back.
They are fun to shoot.
I think
And that is what Hot Pot's got for the brass. As far as other information, Republic Ammunition is getting quite the supply of powder in. A lot of tight group. We got some 2200 accurate in. If anybody's interested in that, that is hard to acquire through the wholesalers. A lot of other powders. We've got some very, very good prices. I was talking to Mr. JH the other night and comparing prices with what he's seeing and what we have. And if you worry about the hazmat, place a bigger order. Just fill the box because it's fill the box. It's
One hazmat.
Price. It's one hazmat price. Fill the box. That's all I got to say about that.
Something I want to say is I've learned in this cowboy shooting with the people that shoot the Marlin 94s, that safety lever or safety bolt thing, when it's in the fire position where it's painted red, it makes a great O-ring groove. Just saying.
Yeah,
Did there.
I think Ranger Point Precision, among others, make a dummy to go in there.
Yeah, you can put a dummy in it, but it also makes a great O-ring groove.
Yeah. You find the right size O-ring, you ain't got to worry about that mess no more, do you?
Nope.
I bought the kit from Ranger Point, put on mine. I have the same gun she has, but it's in 44 instead of 38. And I really, really like it. I need to shoot it more. I was going to do something and I forgot.
Well, I still say the best Marlin I ever sold at the shop was a 1906 with the Lyman adjustable peep, factory peep on it in 3855.
I think I featured that cartridge one night on here at 3855.
You did?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having something chambered in it. That'd be cool. That look like it'd be a deer smacker, buddy.
Georgia Boy 44's got one.
They use it a lot in cowboy long range.
Yeah, I bet. So this is the thing, and as I was doing my research, I didn't include this in the notes, but I think I read it was 1953. Remember we talked about, mentioned briefly that Marlin had taken over the Ballard Rifle Company, making Ballards. Well, they always had that Ballard rifling up until 1953 when they patented their microgroove stuff, and they were. If I remember this correctly, Preacher's Day Off. I'm sorry you have to watch us on the big screen, man. It's scary, ain't it? So, yeah, 1953, they come out with the microgroove barrel. And if I remember it correctly, the numbers, there's 16 grooves. They're 14 thousandths wide and 15 thousandths deep. And a lot of guys were complaining about the microgroove because
they'd let up.
It shot factory loads great, no problem. But guys like us that cast and reload their own, they were having accuracy problems. But one thing I've discovered uh, with my rifle, particularly the 35 Remington, that if you size those bullets 2 thousandths over, they shoot great. They shoot really, really good. Mine does anyway.
Do you have any problem with leading, Jamie?
No, powder coat and gas check. And if you did, you could just shoot some J word bullets through that, and that'd clean that right out.
Yep.
And good to see Chico out there. Praise the Lord for that, Chico. It's awesome, man. Absolutely awesome. Keep your faith in him, and he'll never forsake you, brother.
Cut down the barking there, Kyle, man. She'll pay attention to you later. All right.
Yeah.
She'll scratch your head for you.
She's just wanting to be on the internet right now.
I was talking about Angel.
We lost.
No, Angel's not here. She's dog sitting.
Oh.
Well, barking for her ain't going to help.
So yeah, I hope those numbers I gave y'all are correct about the rifling, but it really doesn't matter. But just something interesting while we're talking about Marlin. But they've been a prolific company. These other companies that we talked about, the Kennedy, the Whitney, and of course Winchester's still out there, but they don't even make their own guns anymore. They farm them out. They pretty much just focus on the ammo part. So I got that right. They patented in 53, and the first microgroove barrels released in 54. Thanks, Service. I think you're right about that. I think they were 22 rifles to start with.
They were. Did I ever tell you my Marlin story, Jamie?
I don't think so.
So I was.
Hold on one second. Do you know
right.
you're a gun guy? You sell them.
Mm-hmm.
What about this question right here? Has anyone tried the G-Force lever guns yet? I'm scared of them, Chico. They're awful inexpensive.
Just the I've sold a lot of the pump shotguns, and they're copies of 870s, and I haven't had any complaints. I haven't had any returns. They are cheap. They're from Turkey. That might change with what Trump's doing right now. Who knows? But I doubt you see too big a difference in it. But there's a lot of guns coming from Turkey. Pistols, shotguns, rifles. But I have not tried I haven't seen the lever guns yet. I would imagine for me, if they're still producing them in a year, yeah, I might consider it, but let the bugs get worked out of them.
Abigail says she hadn't been able to get her pump to cycle well.
Really?
Well, I've shot a few of those G-Force shotguns, and I've not had any trouble. And there's other guns that come out of Turkey that, people don't realize they're out of Turkey and they buy them, But yeah, I don't, just the ones I've shot, and I think it's been 3 of them, and no problem, none whatsoever so far. But those were 12 gauge shotguns.
I've shot a Canic, actually owned a Canic pistol for a hot minute. And I know Gene's got one, and that booger, that thing shot and it was accurate and it was everything you'd want in a striker fired pistol, really.
Yeah, I got the OGSF.
Yeah,
When
nothing
they
overly sexy about it. It just worked. You know,
when they first started importing them, and I've got, I mean, thousands and thousands of rounds to that gun, and it's been the best.
Yeah.
And I've got several Turkish firearms. I got that TSOS D10. I got a shotgun. I got quite a few things from there, and I've had good luck with everything so far.
I want to help answer Bama Dad's question. I saw a review on that Forster coax, and it had a little flex in it. I'd definitely go with the Redding Big Boss. The coax had just a bit of flex in it, and people were kind of, now they might have fixed that by now. I don't know, but that was an early review.
I think I've seen that too, Rebel.
Yeah, if you're doing a 300 PRC, I'd want it to be as solid could be.
What about one of them MECs, the mech ones?
Mech Marksman is one I would like to have. I just don't know if they'd be big enough for 300 PRC.
It's hard to beat a dadgum RCBS rock chucker. I'm sorry. it just works.
I mean, that's the one that CW's got. And I don't know what happened to CW, but he's got that MEC. That's one I'd like to have. That sucker looks stout.
I like the looks of that one too.
I got a friend that's got one of the, what's the RCBS press that's got the absolutely huge cylinder that goes up and down. Ram, yeah. Don't get nasty, Gene. Don't get nasty.
I wasn't taking it there.
But he likes that one because he's in a wheelchair, and the way it works, it doesn't go too far down below the bench, to hit his leg. So he really likes that thing. I forget what they call that press. Summit? Is it Summit? Yeah, Summit. But my Marlin story briefly, I was deer hunting. I was over at my cousin's property. He was building a house. He hollered at me when I got done. It was jet dark. I was driving a 76 Ford F100 hot rod 4-wheel drive, and he said, "Hey, come here and look at my new deck." And I slid the gun on the hood and went over there, looked at his deck, came back in, loaded my stuff up, started going down the road, going down the highway, reached about 55 miles an hour, saw something go past the window. What was that? I didn't have an interior light in the truck. So I cut my flashlight on. My rifle's not in the truck. Surely got it. I didn't leave it on the hood. No, I had to lean it up next to the tire or something. So I went back to his house. Nope. It was laying on the highway. Part of it was in a school parking lot in 3 pieces. And I literally cried. I literally cried. So to this day, you won't catch me putting a gun up anywhere except in a case when I'm done hunting. I won't lay it on top of a car or anything like that. And but I wrote a letter and sent it back to Marlin. And I said, I know it's going to be Ballard rifled instead of micro grooved, and I don't mind. And they fixed that gun like it was a new penny, and it shot just as good or even better than the micro groove. So, and I can shoot good cast stuff out of it. So,
the Ammo Master is the one with the big, huge ram from RCBS. And the mech has over a 4-inch throw, so it's actually bigger than the rock chucker, which is like 3 7/8. I could hear you, but I couldn't say anything. Couldn't do anything.
Look coming in here.
Hello.
Hey, Mark.
Oh,
Hey, Mark.
Sorry, I'm a little bit late, but better late than
Hey,
never.
Mark.
Hello.
Sliding in sideways. What's up, Mark? With a C.
Oh, not too much. Been a long week. This was our last full 5-day week. And we got testing and other stuff coming up for the rest of the month and done the first week of June. So Seth was trying out something new. He went to a different martial arts gym, and then we went to eat. So that's why I'm late.
What style was he trying?
Jiu-jitsu.
Well,
He's been in Taekwondo since he was in kindergarten.
you
And
mastered
he tried-
jujitsu. That's something else. Yeah.
And he tried wrestling this year for the first time and really enjoyed that. So this is just adding another tool to the toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
always good to add to the toolbox.
My son's a second degree Taekwondo.
Yeah, that's where Seth's at.
I used to kid my buddies that were into Taekwondo and had their black belts in Taekwondo. I said, your style's really pretty. If you want to kick out a light bulb hanging 9 feet above your head like that. And then they would give me a hard time about Kempo and this and that. We'd go back and forth, and it was fun, a lot of fun.
You know, I studied Kempo, and we always made fun of the Taekwondo guys because they had to take their shoes off before they could fight.
Yeah. we go back and forth all the time.
Yeah, we had Taekwondo, and we had Motoquan, and we had Kempo studios around and stuff. And it was always fun to kind of badger each other because, you know, you get all these guys in high school, and each one studying this and studying that, and you doing this and doing that. So it was a good razz time.
Kempo was some mean stuff, a lot of strikes. My instructor refused to let anybody kick higher than, when we were sparring, he didn't let anybody kick anybody's knee. But if you were doing kata, you better not throw a high kick. He said on the street, that'll get you killed. And that was his philosophy.
Kempo was great for offensive.
Yes.
And but also had that defensive quality to it as well. Yeah. You know, it was a nice combination of be willing to back up, but strike forward at the given moment.
Right. And then I studied what's Steven Seagal, the real circular style of martial arts. Aikido. Yes, thank you, CW. For a little while, and that was totally different. Yeah, it is kind of like jiu-jitsu. If a jiu-jitsu guy gets you on the ground, I don't care what you know, he's going to wad you up in a knot. All right. And then the Aikido guy was like, you come running at him with a stick, and next thing you know, you ain't got a stick. You're 10 foot away, laying on your butt, and he's just standing there. And all he's done is like flip, whop, use your energy against you.
Use your momentum against you. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. And so it was an interesting departure from Kempo. I really liked it back when I was younger and had knees and joints and didn't have any pain.
Back when I could move.
Yeah.
When I was taking my son to the Taekwondo, I watched those guys because they did several different forms of stuff there. They watched them guys because they had the blue guns and they'd be pointing at each other and they'd take them away from each other and stuff. It's crazy.
Well, Taekwondo, I think, is probably one of the prettiest martial arts to watch people do kata in because the kicks are high, the legs are limber, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that looks like it hurts, But I admire anybody that can go through it and earn a black belt. That's quite an accomplishment.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, any of the disciplines, really.
Like 7 years before he got his second degree, something like that.
I was going to start my own martial arts studio and call it redneck bar fighting, and you had to pass off with a hawk bill, you know, because that's what everybody used around here in the pool room. No, you have to follow through with the cut. You know, no, use the heavy end of the cue to hit somebody over the head. There was an art to that too.
I always like to beat good sticks, man. You cut the pool cue in half.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't believe Copenhagen's that much.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
$8 to $10 for one of those little bitty cans.
One can.
Yeah,
Where
they
at?
don't even come in a wax can anymore either.
Now look, y'all. I just quit dipping. You know, back last summer, and it wasn't no $8 a can. It was like $6 a can. Is it going up, or is that just where y'all live?
Probably depends on where you live, I imagine.
Well, who was it said? Timothy Burkett said Copenhagen $8 to $10 here in northern Louisiana.
Good God.
Good Lord, have mercy,
Man.
They're targeting them Cajuns.
When he says up north, he's probably talking about Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some places just like a cheaper brand like Grizzly would be $3.50, $4.
Yeah, $4.50. I think I remember a coworker of mine complaining about it. It was like $4.50 a can.
Well, you know,
tube. You remember you used to buy a tube? It was 10.
it was 10. It was
10
not 5. Now it's 5.
Now it's 5, and it's the same damn price.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I was spending $75 every 2 weeks buying 2 rolls of Skull, and I'm gonna tell you, you can talk all you want about being hooked on fentanyl or being hooked on heroin, being hooked on nicotine. There could be flooding, tornadoes, hail. You run out of Skull, you run out of Copenhagen, you go into the store. I don't care if you have to ride a mule, you're going to the store.
You watch the weather report. You stock beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact at a discount tobacco store around here, 2 half rolls, which would be 10 cans of Grizzly, is $62.
Jesus.
And that's discount tobacco. That's the cheap tobacco.
Yep.
You know, and there's nothing to replace Skull. So fine cut wintergreen.
Back when I was dipping, it was a can and a half a day.
Yep. You know why?
If not
because
3 cans a day.
Back when I started, a can was 50 cents.
Right. Wasn't nothing.
When I quit, that was 2 cans a day.
Yeah.
I got up to that 6.
Been I think 20 years since I dipped.
I used to chew and smoke at the same time.
Oh, good Lord. That's hardcore, dude.
Yeah, no kidding. Terrible.
I can remember being in high school and you'd be out in the bathroom or whatever during class change. You'd swap it all out. And I wasn't one of them disgusting bastards that would spit on the wall and all that.
Yeah.
But you just swallow it. So you change out between classes and going back, and you get out early to go to work release or whatever. I hate to use prison terms, but go to work release. Then you could smoke. But yeah, I used to buy 3 packs of Marlboros at a drive-through gas station for $5. Now they wanting $6 a pack. Like, what the heck?
6 for Marlboro? That's cheap, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard they were like $8.50.
Yeah, about $8-9.
Well, I don't know because I don't smoke them anymore.
Right.
I smoke 24/7s. I get 2 packs for $8.
Let me say that it's time for our verse of the week. It's my understanding, Firearms and Fellowship says he likes to pick up the old Glenfields. They tend to be less expensive. It's
They
my
are.
understanding that the only difference between them and a Marlin is the stock, and that's because it's birch wood. It's a less expensive wood in the stock, and I've and Marlin made a lot of store brand guns too, and they're the same. But anyway, it's time for us to get to the verse of the week, and I hope y'all are ready. And yeah, that's the only difference. One thing I do want to do as we start out is put this up here. Y'all remember our meet and greet? Me, Rebel, and Hot Pot going to meet together at June 30th, and July 1st at Bullseye Sporting Goods in Vail, North Carolina. And we hope all y'all that can will come out and see us. I imagine we'll start meeting that Monday morning on the 30th, probably about 9 o'clock, something like that. And
Officially, yes. Unofficially, whenever y'all get here.
right.
We'll probably me and Ms. Hotshot will probably be down there probably Friday or Saturday just to see the area a little bit too.
That'll be cool.
You'll love it.
Tonight we want to. We're going. This is the last installment of our series about the I am statements of Jesus that are recorded in John's Gospel. Y'all remember last week that I told you that the first 7 I am statements recording in John are metaphorical, meaning that they compare Jesus's life or that kind of thing. But these last 2 are not metaphorical statements. They are flat out Jesus telling us who he really is. The last of these, last week we talked about I am. Before Abraham was, I am, recorded in John chapter 8. Absolutely fabulous chapter. And that particular verse, 8:58, if I'm allowed to have a favorite verse of the Bible, that's it. If not, I still like it a lot. So this one is more definitive, even more shocking in a lot of ways, because it happens in the Garden of Gethsemane as they're coming to get Jesus to take him to try him. We're going to start in John chapter 18, starting with verse 4. And Jesus, therefore, knowing all things that would come upon him, went forward and said to them, "Whom are you seeking?" They answered him, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus said to them, "I am he." And Judas, who betrayed him, also stood with them. Now when he said to them, "I am he," they drew back and fell to the ground. Verse 7. Then he asked them again, "Whom are you seeking?" And they said, "Jesus of Nazareth." Jesus answered, "I have told you that I am he. Therefore, if you seek me, let these go their way. In verse 9, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spoke, "Of those whom you gave me, I have lost none." Very rich passage of scripture right here. Let's go back to verse 4 there. Jesus there, knowing all things that would come upon him. Judas hoped to catch Jesus by surprise, but this was impossible. Jesus' entire life was prepared for this hour, and he was ready for it. Jesus asked him, "Who are you seeking?" Taking the lead, Jesus said this for at least 2 reasons. He wanted any potential violence to be directed to him and not to his disciples. so he wanted to identify himself. Jesus also wanted Judas and the detachment of troops to announce their evil intentions. When he said Jesus of Nazareth, when they said this was a common name that Jesus was known by, Jesus wasn't normally identified by his role as a rabbi or by a carpenter or not even by his apparent parentage. Jesus ben Joseph, Jesus being his name, Ben meaning son of Joseph. Jesus chose and received the title that identified him with Nazareth. A commentator named Trapp there says they call him Jesus of Nazareth by way of reproach. He takes it upon him and wears it for a crown. And should not we do likewise? In other words, they were making fun of Jesus when they said that. Let's switch this to here. So I am. Jesus answered them with this curious phrase, 2 words in both English and in the original language, ego eimi. It is curious because Jesus didn't say, I am he, but simply, I am. The he was added by the translators and is not in the original text. With this, Jesus conspicuously proclaimed that he was God, connecting his words to the many previous I am statements recorded in the Gospel of John, especially in John 8:58, which is what I was talking about earlier. But also, and we'll go through these, John 6:48, John 8:12, 9:5, 10:9, 10:11 through 14, 10:36, 11:25, and 14:6. Those are the 7 metaphoric I am statements of Jesus. David Guzik there quotes Morris. The soldiers had come out secretly to arrest a fleeing peasant. The soldiers had come out to secretly arrest a fleeing peasant. In the gloom, they find themselves confronted by a commanding figure who so far from running away comes out to meet them and speaks to them in the very language of deity. So this is not what they were expecting. The Greek there, I'm not going to do that one. Now, when he said to them, I am he, they drew back and fell to the ground. When Jesus declared his divinity, when Jesus declared his divine identity in the words, I am, Judas and the soldiers all fell back. There was such a display of divine presence, majesty, and power in those 2 words that the enemies of Jesus were powerless to stand against him. Trapp there says, he, our Savior, let out a little beam of the majesty of his deity, and 500 men fell before him. This shows that Jesus was completely in control of the situation. As a particular matter, Jesus did not have to go with this arresting army led by Judas. With God's power expressed through his words alone, Jesus could have overpowered them and easily escaped. Clark there says, our Lord chose to give them this proof of his infinite power that they might know that their power could not prevail against him if he chose to exert his might, seeing that the very breath of his mouth confounded, drove back, and struck them down to the earth. So this is a contrast. This is the dichotomy or the definition of meekness, which to me is power under control. McLaren there says, whenever in our Lord's life, any incident indicates more emphatically than usual the lowliness of his humiliation, thereby by the side of it, you get something that indicates the majesty of his glory. He's being arrested, yet his power knocks these people to the floor, to the ground. So think about this. This is the dichotomy of meekness. Jesus was born as a humble baby, yet he was announced by angels. Jesus laid in a manger, yet signaled by a star. Jesus submitted to baptism as if he were a sinner, then heard the divine voice of approval. This is my son in whom I am well pleased. Jesus slept when he was exhausted, but awoke to calm the storm. Jesus wept at a grave, then called the dead to life. Jesus surrendered to arrest, then declared, I am, and knocked all the troops over. Jesus died on the cross, but in it he defeated sin, death, and Satan. Now let's look at MacArthur has a note there on verse 4 through 8. He says, by twice asking the question to which they replied, Jesus of Nazareth, Jesus was forcing them to acknowledge that they had no authority to take his disciples. In fact, he demanded that they let the disciples go there in verse 8. The force of his demand was established by the power of his words. When he spoke, I am he, a designation that he had used before to declare himself God, they were jolted backwards and to the ground. This powerful display and the authoritative demand not to take the disciples were of immense significance, as the next verse indicates.
Are we keeping you up?
Yeah.
Verses 7 through 9. Okay, he asked them again, who are you seeking? And they said, Jesus of Nazareth. He asked them again. Jesus didn't want the soldiers to panic or injure the disciples. Jesus called their attention back to him and asked them again a question they were probably hesitant to answer. Yeah, you asked it the first time, you got knocked on your backside. I have told you that I am. Jesus said the same words as before. I am. Ego, emi, emi. Yet, Judas and the troops did not fall to the ground as before. This shows that these were not magic words, but previously they all fell at the conscious display of God's power. If you seek me, let these go their way. After the display of power described in John 18:6, Jesus did not continue to oppose his arrest. Jesus willingly gave himself up to protect his disciples. This was the same sacrificial love that would find its ultimate peak at the cross. It also shows why Jesus knocked the soldiers to the ground. The show of power was to protect the disciples and not himself. So let these go their way. These words are rather words of authority than words of an entreaty. I voluntarily give myself up to you, but you must not molest one of these, my disciples. At your peril, injure them. Let them go about their business. I have already given you sufficient proof of my power. I will not exert it on my own behalf, for I will lay down my life for the sheep, but I will not permit you to injure the least of these, and that's Clark. Questions or comments?
Powerful words.
This whole scene is a really powerful scene. You got to try to imagine what's going on here. It's dark out. There's this gang of troopers really coming in on to Jesus and the disciples with torches and weapons because they're chasing some other crook, and they come upon Jesus and he basically is just standing there. He's not afraid, but this is a strong group of people that are coming, and they find out, hey, this might be this Jesus guy. Let's grab him. It's kind of what's going on, and Jesus is just playing cool. He's just there, and he's the troops all fall to the ground under his words first, and still he's just standing. He's not running. He's not afraid of anything. And Simon Peter at one point took a sword and cut off one of the high priest's servant's ear.
That's what I was going to
And Jesus says, "Hey, just put your sword away." He said, "You're not going to need that." And and then he said, Jesus gets a little bit miffed with these guys because he's already told them a couple of times, I am. He said, how many times I got to tell you? It's kind of his attitude there, but it's so interesting to me that he doesn't. I'll say chicken out. He's not playing chicken here, but he's not trying to be a hero either. He's just saying, I think he was talking to Simon Peter when he said this. Should I not drink from the cup that my father gave me? In other words, this is the lot that I was given, and I'm going to play it. I'm going to play these cards. And then he kind of turns to these soldiers and says, and by the way, you remember that last time when you hit the ground? Don't go there. Take me, but you leave these other guys alone. And I can imagine that his tone was somewhat stern at that point after what had happened in the last 15 minutes or so. I would bet that those soldiers are going to, yeah, okay. But it was an amazing scene that was happening right there, and as you guys know me, I try to put scenery to the words. I try to imagine myself being there and what that would have been like. And that was a rough scene.
Yeah, I like to imagine what it's like for everybody involved in the situation.
Yeah. And, I'd also like to add, when I think sometimes people, get the impression that, Jesus and these disciples, they were like pretty, I don't know how to use the word, but like they weren't like tough, or they were just terribly poor and all this. When Judas stole the money, because he was basically the accountant, that nobody even they had enough money that they didn't even know anything was missing. Jesus did, but none of the rest of them. And like I said, that's one thing I was going to say, Walter, is Peter drew his sword and just cut the ear off of one of the other people. They were ready to fight. They weren't just a bunch of timid people. And just the power and everything around them. So don't ever think of them as just timid, real timid people and stuff. And Bama Dad says this here. Now, Peter, look what you did. Now I have to put the air back on.
Yeah.
Jesus, even though these people are after him, he still loved and cared for them. And so it's just, he was awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot of controversy about that particular passage of scripture too. We might get into that sometimes, but there's rumors that Peter struck him from behind. If he was right-handed and he cut the right ear off of the guard, then he would have had to been either behind him or cut across his face, which would have cut his face, not his ear. But that's another story for another study. But yeah, thank y'all guys for paying attention and indulging me with the verse of the week. I appreciate it. And, when I ain't going there. I'll get too deep in it. We're only 9 minutes from from Chad, so we got to go live. Hillbilly, you want to say bye first and go help Chad over there?
First of all, I want to say thank you all very much for having me on. I appreciate y'all so much. Always have a great time here. Just fun group of people on the panel. Awesome side chat, and I got coming up tomorrow night. We got Guns, Beer, and Therapy. Saturday night, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. So if you ain't doing nothing, swing by and see us. Always try to have a good time there. So anyway, appreciate y'all, and I'll throw the link out there in the side chat for talking bench rest with Kentucky Rimfire coming up next. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you, Hillbilly. Appreciate you. Mark, you want to go next?
Sure can. Thanks for having me. Sorry I was sneaking in late, but do what we do. As far as what's coming up in the future, videos, I'm not 100% sure. I'm still tinkering with that 357 Harriet barrel. In fact, I might want to talk to CW for a few minutes afterwards.
I'll be here.
But just trying to get things finished up in school and enjoying some better weather here. So just thanks again for having me. Good to see everybody. Hope everybody has a great weekend.
Thank you for being here, buddy.
Oh, and real quick, don't forget your mama this weekend.
Oh, yes, please. It's Mother's Day weekend. You guys that got young kids, you're responsible. Come on, guys. Go ahead, Kyle. What you got coming up, brother?
I just want to say hey to everybody in the side chat. I missed a couple of people. Everybody knows how it is. You'll be sitting here typing all night. But thank all of y'all for being here, because y'all are what makes this happen. I appreciate everybody on the panel. It was a great night, great verse. A lot of information got exchanged between everybody and all that, and my notebook's getting full. Appreciate y'all putting up with us, and I look forward to seeing y'all next Friday night. And that's about all I got.
Thank you, brother. Mr. Walter, what you got coming up this week?
Well, again, as always, I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and participate with you fellas. I missed last week. I was out hanging with my old motorcycle buddies, and that was fun. It was a worthwhile thing for me to do. Also, guys I only see once a year. But as far as what's coming up here, we've got some video I just posted today with this new product from Lee, and then I've got hopefully going to get a Moldy Monday out this coming Monday, but that'll be on the Rumble channel. We'll have a Wad Cutter Wednesday coming up next Wednesday, and a couple of other little surprises. We're still working on that Schofield project, and we got one more foot forward on that project, so we'll be talking about that probably towards the end of next week. But thanks to the side chat, to all of you folks turning out to be here with us. That's what makes the river flow, as they say, and I'm always very happy to have the opportunity to exchange ideas and conversation with you folks out there. So that's what's coming up from Viejo land. Mr. Rebel, what's going on your way, buddy?
Well, working as always. Like I said, came home to a broke air conditioner, and fortunately I had so I apologize for being in and out the whole thing. Supper was late. Wife went and picked up Chinese, and I used those little sticks like shovels as fast as I could so I could get back on here. And if you use them like windshield wipers, you can get that rice in your face pretty good. But I have a spare old heat pump here that I took off of my wife's mother's house in West Virginia when it got flooded, and I use it for spare parts. So I had a spare contactor and replaced it, and my back's killing me and my knees are killing me, and it's going to be a 800 milligram night for ibuprofen, I got a feeling. And but hopefully We got do have one thing interested at the shop, and y'all can go on Facebook, Bullseye's Facebook page, and see it. But we ended up trading, and so often in gun stores, CW, I understand this. You trade for something, you trade for something, you trade for something. About the fourth time trading, you ain't got nothing in what's being traded. So it's nice profit. Well, this time it was a 3-screw Ruger.
Oh,
And, oh yeah, single 6 and 22 Magnum, and it wasn't marked 22 Magnum. So we were looking in the book, and actually Ruger produced some flat tops that weren't marked 22 Magnum, and they are valued very, very high. But I took the cylinder out, looked on the back of the cylinder, and it's rough etched on the back, the serial number, and the serial numbers weren't matching up to the 22 Magnum version that wasn't labeled. So I figured what happened was this guy said he bought it in 1974. 1974 was when, if you sent it back to Ruger, I believe that's when they were doing the transfer bars. I ran the serial number. The gun was bought in 1973, 72, 73. So that works out about right. But this is a testimony to Ruger's machining. I think someone picked up a 22 Magnum cylinder and said, gee, I wonder if this will work. Slapped it in the gun, and it timed. And they lost the 22 rimfire cylinder. And so now it's a 22 Magnum only. Added badly chipped, broken handle. I ordered a set of grips, or a grip, and I ordered a set of grips off eBay. And we've got it on the shelf. And I shot it one time just to make sure everything was good. It didn't shave lead, and it shoots great. It hits where you aim it. So 6.5 inch, nice pistol. But that's been the highlight of Bullseye Week. Anyway,
good deal.
Good deal. Thanks for being here, buddy.
Yeah, you're welcome.
6, what you got coming up, my brother?
Well, thanks for letting me on again tonight. I enjoyed it. Do have a cowboy match in the morning. I'm only shooting. The wife has developed some problems with her shoulder. She's going to the doctor Monday for that. And got Mother's Day, so I can't go to the range Sunday. So I didn't get to go last weekend because her shoulder was messed up, and I couldn't leave her here. She couldn't do nothing. So that's what I'm up to this week. So, and probably next week. That's about all I've got.
Well, I hope she feels better. And I appreciate you being on with us.
Me too, 6. I hope she feels better.
Mr. Hot Pipe, what's going on, brother? What you got coming up?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow I'm going to get up early and go to a local range and help do setup. I'm a range officer, but I'm not a certified range officer, CRO. So I need to get some time into the ranges to actually set stages up to start learning the CRO path as far as everything that's involved in. You know, getting out the measuring tape, putting everything in the correct positions, and that's part of the CRO course. So I'm going to get a good jump on that. And then Sunday, on Mother's Day, we've got a match. So be good to get to a local club and just have some fun. I'm going to take the TSOS D10 10 millimeter single stack out and shoot that in limited 10. I really love shooting that gun. It's going to be a great time. Thanks for having me on tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Always have a lot of fun on Friday nights. I'm sorry I've missed the past few weeks. Just other things have taken over between sore teeth and the Marengo monsoon. It's definitely been a trippy couple weeks. But you know what? It's only once around the ride. So you always remember to have to keep blowing that smoke.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, brother Gene. Mr. CW, what you got coming up, brother?
Oh, I got a couple, 2, 3, 4 videos coming next week. Not sure which ones they are. I didn't check before we went off here, but they'll be coming Monday and Thursday, and then anything I throw in as an extra. So I appreciate all the views and all the people on there. Been growing pretty good. Like I said, I picked up a chronograph, picked up one of those Athlons, and I'm really liking it a lot. Used it only one time so far, but it's really nice. It's gonna be really good to keep track of things and build on my reloading for some of the more accurate related cartridges. I bedded my little 6.5 Grendel, and I got to shoot that the other day. And the first shot, now I pulled the gun all apart, of course, took the scope off, took everything apart, rebedded it, put it back into stock, put everything back together. First shot was about 3 inches low at 50 yards. I moved it up. I shot it 5 shots at 100 yards in a single hole. So needless to say, that bedding is just, it looked really good. It felt really good. And a single hole, and you could cover it with your little fingernail. It's
Wow.
not a 1/4 inch, but it's a 3/8 of an inch, 5-shot group, 120 grain nozzlers at about 2,500 feet per second.
Now wait a minute,
I just love
CW.
that gun. I
If
just love
that's
that.
if that's outside the outside, you got to take 264 out of it. It's probably less than a 1/4
It's
inch.
probably less than there, yeah.
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 That's good. That's
It's
fantastic.
really,
It's
really
a little
good.
hole. I've seen it. It's a little hole.
I just love that gun. It's now it's beyond perfect. It's got a new stock and a new scope, and it's bedded really nice, and it's light. It's about 7 pounds. It's just a really, really nice little package.
And I really like that cartridge too.
Yeah, me too. It's a real efficient little bugger.
Don't
But,
need
I saw
anything
the
more
video
for
on that
deer
coming
hunting.
up. Oh, it works good. It's knocked down a couple for me. It knocked that big guy down over there. He was 262 or 263 pounds 5 days after I killed him. So he was a big bugger.
Yeah.
Sound like.
Yeah. So I got that coming up. I got some. I drug out my 223 bolt, which I never had on the channel before. I was talking with Dragon Rider, and he wanted to see it, so I got that video coming up. Unfortunately, where my videos are, I think that's coming out in July, but it's the end of June or July. So that's coming up. I picked up a 2520, which I don't think anybody's seen yet, contender barrel. That video is coming out on the barrel and on some reloading. I was talking on the side chat with Firearms and Fellowship about 2520. He's got a couple videos on that as well. I guess he's got something he's playing with, a 92 Winchester. He's going to start reloading for it. So looking forward to that and those videos. I was not subbed to him. I got bumped off somehow. YouTube does that sometimes. So check your subscriptions, everybody. You know, if you're not seeing videos from somebody, chances are they're still making them and you are not subbed anymore. So that's what happened with him. So I went back and resubbed while we were doing everything else here. So just a really good time, really good side chat, really active comments and topic. I love these Marlin stuff. Marlin was always my thing. I submit that the 92s and 86 Winchesters are probably the best of the lever actions, but I love my Marlins. So really, really good talk this time and a good topic, Jamie.
Yeah, me too, man. I prefer the Marlins, and I still want a 94 Winchester just to have one in the collection, but I'm a Marlin man. So, guys, thank all y'all for being here and joining us tonight. Still 26 of y'all hanging on. Guys, have a great weekend. Remember your moms, and remember that we love you and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And if we hope the Lord blesses y'all real good, and if He's willing, we'll see y'all next Friday night at 8 o'clock. Y'all ready?
God bless everyone.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
See y'all.
Good night, guys.
Can y'all hear it?
Nope.